Hello. I said hello. Welcome to A Time to Think by Pastor Billy Joe Hillbilly. Today I want to talk about alcohol. Yeah. Some Christians, many Christians, seem to think that drinking at all is just the worst thing a human being could possibly do. Now, before I even begin, please understand, I don't want to encourage people to drink, because for so many people, drinking alcohol becomes a problem. Just as simple as I can put it. I love the feeling. My goodness, you hit a couple of shots and wow. Just that relax, so it's just like everything in me relaxes. But my problem is I don't stop. Then I'm like, oh my goodness, if 2 shots or, whatever, 2 drinks would make me feel good, then wow, then 16 will make me feel, well, let's do the math, that's 8 times as good. And unfortunately, that's not how it works out. Would you leave me alone? Do you see the wasp trying to kill me? Oh, sorry. Anyway, long and short of it is this. I think a drink on occasion to relax, as long as it doesn't get out of control. As long as you're not drinking all the time, every single day, drinking to excess, etc., it's not a sin. In fact, let me prove to you that it's not a sin. You see, so many Christians seem to think it is, and it drives me insane. So this is going to be part of the sequence here under setting the record straight. The first miracle described in the New Testament, John chapter 2, if I'm not mistaken, and I may be a pastor, but I don't know every single word of the Bible. In fact, I'm not a pastor, and I really don't know every single word of the Bible. In fact, I don't know that I ever read the Old Testament all the way through. I did read the New Testament several times, I guess, from beginning to end, or at least Matthew to Revelation, or Revelations. I don't even now know if it's singular or plural. But I will before the next video, promise you that. Anyway, the first miracle that Jesus performed, according to John chapter 2, if I'm not mistaken, was to turn water into wine. Well, this was at a wedding party. You hear all sorts of stupidity on the topic of alcohol consumption. Christians are like, well, back in the day, wine didn't have, as much alcohol in it as it does now. Well, one, I don't believe that's the case, because I think the method for making wine has been the same for thousands of years, however long they've made wine. And so I don't think the alcohol content has changed. And even if it has, what does that matter? How does that matter? If you have to drink a thimbleful or 20 gallons, drunk is drunk. And the Bible talks about getting drunk. So it doesn't matter how much they had to drink to get to that point. Drunk is drunk. Drinking is not a sin. Drinking too much is. Eating is not a sin. Eating too much is. When you start putting an emphasis on alcohol or eating, look at me, blubber bottom here. Fat A. That's fitting. Anyway, I have a problem with food. The problem is I don't get enough of it. Well, that's obviously a lie. I get plenty. Anyway, so alcohol consumption is not a sin. And again, here's the reason. Jesus turned water into wine at a wedding party. Jesus was not a drug pusher. Jesus did not go around trying to convince people to sin. Therefore, you can infer, I guess, that drinking alcohol is not a problem. You know, Jesus would not turn water into wine and then, to tempt people. Jesus was not out trying to get people to do the wrong thing. If he turned water into wine, it was because it's okay to drink it. He didn't turn it into wine as a test to these people. Hey, let's see who drinks it. I'm going to tempt them with this delicious rosé or whatever. Pinot Noir or whatever. If this freaking wasp stings me, then I will cry. I promise you that. Anyway, Jesus turned water into wine. He did it because it was a party. It was a wedding celebration. I don't believe that that's the only time you can drink wine. And again, because Jesus did this, we know, therefore, it was not a sin. But again, please understand, it is so easy for drinking to become a problem for so many people, myself included. I mean, I never know when to quit. That's why I decided, hey, it's just better I just don't drink. Because every time I do, or did, I haven't drank in a while, but every time I did, I would generally, well, maybe not every time, but most of the time, when I would start, I wouldn't stop until I was a little out of control. And that's not a really good feeling. I mean, you just never know when you're going to be there, a little on the tipsy side, and, the wife calls and says, hey, can you pick up, the daughter at school or whatever? And you're like, what do you say? No, sorry, honey, I'm drunk. I can't do it. It's just easiest not to bother. But again, if you choose to drink, that is not a sin in and of itself. Drinking too much, letting it get out of control, letting it control you, letting it affect how you behave, that's a problem. So for most people, I agree. I have to say that it's probably best. Just don't do it. But if you're one of these few that can drink a glass of wine and relax and, whatever, most of the studies I've heard about say that a glass of wine with a meal, dear God, it's hot. Particularly when you're in a robe and all that. But anyway, if you can drink a glass of wine with a meal and call it quits after that, fine. Drinking is not a sin. So for the Christians out there that think it is, you're idiots. Sorry. And just so that I'm clear about this, most people are idiots. I mean, I'm not talking to you. Obviously, you're an incredibly intelligent person, I know. You're watching my video. But everybody else, those people that aren't listening in right now, well, they're the idiots. No, kidding. The people behind you that are staring over your shoulder, those are the idiots. Don't tell them, though. They don't realize it. No, I'm, again, trying to be funny. Anyway, so if you want to take a drink, it's not a sin. Jesus wouldn't have turned water into wine to tempt people to do something wrong. He did it because it's okay to relax and enjoy life. Like Ecclesiastes says, there's a time for everything and a season for everything. And yeah, I'm paraphrasing. I'll have to go back and reread that one. Anyway, that's your assignment for the day. I'm kidding. But yeah, maybe you should. Read the Bible. Anyway, all right, well, I hope everyone has a lovely day. And again, this is Pastor Billy Joe Hillbilly saying good evening or whatever.